Hello students, how are you all? Today ma'am is with some clothes. No, ma'am is not selling anything. So what I was doing today, I was arranging my cupboard, and then I saw that I have so many different type of dresses in my cupboard. I have some cardigans, I have kurtis, I have some dresses, I have saris, and if I see all these materials are made up of different material. Like the dress I'm wearing, the kurti I'm wearing is made up of cotton. I have many cotton kurtis, and in winters we are wearing some woolen clothes, and these are made up of wool. And I have a pretty sari in the cupboard. It's silk. And I have some dresses which are like synthetic material. These are made up of nylon or polyester. So there are so many different types of fabrics in your wardrobe. So I thought of why not we just read about and know about these fabrics in details and how, from where we are getting this. So before going to the chapter, let me give you a brief introduction about the chapter. It is like, see, in class 6 you have already read about all the different types of fibers. We know there are two types of fiber. It may be natural and synthetic. Even natural fiber can be divided into the fibers which we get from plants and the fiber which we get from animals. In class 6 we have learned about the fibers which we get from plants. In class 7 we will learn about the fibers which we get from animals. Especially in this chapter we will learn about wool and silk. So I am keeping the other things aside. See, this is a beautiful sari and this is a Muga silk. Muga silk, in this chapter we will learn about the different silk moths. What are silk moths? Okay, we will read about it. And this is a cardigan and this is a stole. These two things are made up of wool. And you all know from where we get wool? We get wool from sheep. Not only sheep, we may get wool from some goats, camels. In this chapter, we will mainly learn about wool and silk. So, let's get started. So, let's recapitulate a bit. See, in class 6, we have already read about fibers, fabric, yarn. So, let us recapitulate once. So, fibers, what are fibers? They are thin thread-like things that we get from plants or animals, and if we twist the fibers we get yarn. Yarns are the thread by which the clothes are made up of or the fabrics are made up of. Now what are fabrics? When we weave the yarn together in an interlocking fashion, then we get the fabric. Fabric is the piece of cloth from which you make the cloth or your dresses. Now if I show you this sari, then here you can see this. If you see the sari properly, then you will see there are some interlocking patterns are there. I don't know if you are able to see it or not, but if you go to your wardrobe and take out one sari or any dress, then you can easily see an interlocking pattern. These are made up of threads, and the threads are made up of fibers. See, so minute fibers are there. So these are actually the fibers, and when these fibers are twisted like this, if then it's twisted, it forms the thread, and this thread when weaved together we get the fabric, and with that fabric you can make saris, you can make kurtis or anything. So the pattern is fiber to yarn and then to fabric. Now, fibers can be of two types. One, the natural fiber, and the another one is artificial or synthetic fiber. Natural fiber means those fiber which we get from natural sources, such as the living sources such as plants and animals. And in case of artificial one or the synthetic one, the synthetic word means that you are making it artificially in the industries. Now, the examples of natural fibers are cotton, wool, jute, silk, and in case of artificial are acrylic, nylon, polyester. There are different varieties of synthetic fibers. Now, this natural fiber can further be divided into two types. One, the fiber which we get from plants, another the fiber which we get from animals. The fibers which we get from plants are cotton, jute, and the fibers which we get from animals are wool, silk. So in this chapter we will be learning about the natural fibers, mainly the wool and the silk, that means the animal fibers. Let's start with the first animal fiber, that is wool. It is the most commonly used animal fiber. You know, wool is actually the modified form of your hairs, means form of hairs. So what happened during winters, the sheep or goat, camels, yak, alpaca, they grow some wavy hairs, and these hairs help them to stay warm in winter. Now we wear these sweaters or cardigans to keep us warm. Now how they are keeping us warm? You know, the wool is a wavy type of fiber. So if it is wavy, so it traps some air inside its waviness. So you know, air is a bad conductor of heat. As the air is trapped in the cardigan, sweater or the wool material, so the temperature, like the heat from the body, cannot escape out, or the cold temperature cannot enter the body. It somehow resists it. Of course, if it is very cold, then you can feel the cold or the coolness of the temperature or the environment, but it resists it does not allow the heat from your body to move out. Now there are many animals from where we get this wool. That is, we get it from sheep, goat, yak, camel, llama and alpaca. You need to know some of the names and from where they belong. The hairy skin of the sheep or goat, they have two types of hair. That is the coarse beard hair and the soft fine hair. With the help of soft and fine hairs, the wool fibers are made. And some of the names of the Indian breeds are given. You should remember 2 or 3 names like Lohi. They are found in Rajasthan and Punjab. Rampur Bushair. What is the quality of their hair? So 1 or 2 you need to remember. Now we will go to the production of wool. Before going to the production of wool, we should know that in order to get the wool, we have to take care of the animals, and we need to select the breeds or the animals which are having fine soft hairs, more amount of fine soft hairs, because we don't need the coarse beard hair, we need the fine soft hair for making the wool. Now first of all, we need to take care of them. We need to give them proper shelter, proper fooding like they eat grass, oil cakes, corn. And what we need to do, we need to select the high yielding breed. Now there is a term called selective breeding. We have to breeding. The term breeding means to making them reproduce. So the main fact is that we are choosing 2 parents, those who are having more amount of fine soft hairs, and we are making them reproduce, and their offspring or their children, then they will have more amount of fine soft hairs. So from that shape we will get more amount of wool. So before going to the process, we need to give them proper care, and we need to select the proper breed. We will jump into the process by which from the fibers we will get the yarn. Now the process is like during the winters they grow these hairs, and during the end of the winter what the farmers do, they cut the wool along with the thin layer of the skin, that is known as fleece. And this process of cutting the wool along with a thin layer of skin is called shearing. Now then you should think that if they are cutting the layer of the skin, then it may hurt the sheep. No, see, that layer is the layer of dead cell. So they are like in the barber shop, as you are having that razor type of thing, trimmer type of thing, the same way they are also having that device, and with the help of that they simply trim the hairs along with a thin layer of skin. Now this process is called shearing. After shearing, next process is scoring. Scoring means we have to wash and clean the wool. Like you know that sheep, they used to go here and there all mud, dirty things are, stick to their body. Now what we need to do, we need to clean this in a soap solution so that all the grease, dirt, all the germs, everything gets cleaned. Now the first one is shearing, second one is scoring, and the third one is sorting. Like the fibers, like the length of the fibers of different wool fibers, they differ. So what they do, they generally short it. The fine quality hairs, the longer one, the shorter one, they short it. It may be done in factories by machines, and it is also done by hand. Next thing is, wool, the color of the wool is generally brown, black or white. But the sweaters which we are wearing, they are colorful. So we need to dye it or we need to color it. That is also done in different factories. Then comes, we need to comb it. Combing means, first of all, whenever I am combing my hairs, means what? If the hairs are entangled, then it will be straight. Next, there are some burrs. Now burrs are what? If you wear some woolen clothes, sometimes round thing happens now, in the woolly things comes out. Like that, a fluffy fibers, those are called burrs. They need to remove those burrs. See, the same way we comb our hairs, the same way they also have a comb that is made up of metal. And the same way as I'm combing my hairs, they are combing the fibers and they are entangling it. If it is entangled, they are making it straight, so that we can further process it. Next from after combing, they used to take it for spinning. Spinning means what? From that fiber they will spin, they will fold it and twist it and make the fibers. So, with that fiber they will make the yarn, and with that yarn you can make the weavers will make the fabric. Got it? So what are the processes? First, shearing, that means the cutting of the fleece. Next is scoring. Scoring means washing it. Third one is sorting, that means we will sort it. And fourth one is dyeing, means we will color it. Then we will comb it, we will remove or we will entangle. If it's entangled, we will make it straight, and then we will spin it. Spinning it means making the fibers into yarn, and from that yarn, by the process of weaving, they will make the fabric. The sheep, they used to move here and there, and they get, their skin get attached with all the dirt, grease, even some bacteria also start growing there. So the people, those who are related with the shorting the fleece, the shorting the fibers, they may get some disease. A disease that, this type of disease is known as occupational hazard. One of the occupational hazard faced by these workers are shorter disease. This disease is caused by a bacteria known as anthrax, and this is very lethal. Lethal means it can take the life of that person. So the diseases which are caused due to the type of occupation a person is having, or the problems faced by the person due to their occupation, is known as occupational hazard. In this case, the disease is shorter disease caused by a bacteria named anthrax. The next natural fiber is the silk. Silk is very shiny, very royal type of thing, and that we get from an insect. Yes, we get it from an insect that is known as silk moth. And the rearing and the breeding, taking care of them, is known as sericulture. That means we are taking care of them, we are feeding it, we are making them breed. This full process means, the full process is called sericulture. And whenever you see silk, it gives you a royal feeling. Like, whenever I see my mom's saris, I love it a lot. See, they are so shiny. Yes or no? So this silk, now we will learn about how we get this silk. Before knowing about how we get it, we should know about the mysterious life of the silk moth. Yes, so let's dive into it. Now let us start with the life history of silk moth. No, it's not history, it's not boring, it's very interesting, and it's science. There's a term called metamorphosis, means they change form. Let me start with the beginning. What happened when a silk moth, they lays hundreds of eggs. Now, these eggs hatch not into a silk moth. They hatch into some caterpillars. They look so different that they do not match with the silk moth. They are like small insect creeping caterpillars, and these caterpillars are known as larvae or larva. Now they have only one function. They will eat, grow, eat, grow, eat, grow. This is their function. So what happened after the silk moth? They lay the eggs in those plants where the leaves which the larvae or the caterpillar can eat. Now what happened when they lay eggs? After that, when they hatch, they eat the leaves of the plant. Especially they eat the leaves of mulberry plants, and they eat it, and their one and only function is they will eat and eat and eat and grow. After growing to a certain size, what they do, they forms a cocoon. Like they form a very thread like things, and they wrap themselves. This you have learned in class 6 in a motion of 8. Yes or no? They wrap themselves and they form a cocoon. After forming a cocoon, they stay there for some time and they mold themselves. And when the cocoon breaks, they don't remain as a caterpillar. They have wings, they are beautiful, and they get converted into a beautiful winged moth. See, this lifestyle is similar for butterflies also. So they have metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means changing of shapes or changing of forms. So from the egg to larvae to pupa and then to adult. Now we will learn about which stage is important for the production of silk. For the production of silk, we need the cocoon. So now we will learn about how we produce silk in factories or industry. Now we will learn how silk is produced in industry. See, in order to produce silk, what they do, they grow mulberry trees. Now what happens, the adult silk moth, the female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs, and those eggs are collected in papers and they are sold to the farmers. Now what the farmers do, they keep that egg in a hygienic condition and they give some temperature. They heat it, they warm it. In order to hatch, they need some temperature. When the eggs hatched, the caterpillars emerge from the eggs, and now they feed them with mulberry leaves. For 25 to 30 days, they keep on eating, and they grow in size. After 25 to 30 days, they stop eating and they form cocoons. Now what happened? The farmers, they collect these cocoons. Now they don't allow the caterpillars to mold into a silk moth. What they do, they generally heat or boil those cocoons. When they will boil the cocoon, the larvae inside will die, and they will simply entangle the cocoon and they will take out the silk. This is called reeling of silk, that is taking out of the silk fiber from the cocoon. Now after taking out the fibers is then again converted into yarn, and then they are converted into fabrics, and then you will get this finished product. That is a beautiful silk sari or silk cloth or silk dress. That is, you can see it's a shiny one. So this is the process by which you get silk. Now one more thing I want to add, that we also have some artificial silk. Like see, this process is a lengthy process, and even silk is a costly fiber. So the scientists or in the factories, we can make artificial silk. But there is a process by which you can identify which one is natural silk and which one is artificial silk. If you take out a fiber from the natural silk and from artificial silk, and if you burn it, the natural silk will give you the smell of burning hairs, and the artificial silk will give you the smell of burning paper or the smell of burning plastic. So in this way, you can classify or you can identify which one is artificial silk and which one is natural silk. Again student, Please do not perform it at home. If you want to, then tell your mother to give you or take out a single fiber from the sari or from anywhere, but don't burn your mother's sari, and please don't blame me for that. So you have to just know how you can identify between a natural silk and an artificial silk. Now it's a story time. Yeah, it's really a story. Now I will tell you the story how silk was discovered. See, long time ago in China there was a king. His name was Huang Ti, and his queen's name was Si Lang Chi. Okay, I may pronounce the name wrong, please pardon me for that. So Huang Ti had a queen, her name was Si Lang Chi. So one day the king told the queen that I will give you a task. You have to find out which insect is eating the leaves of the mulberry trees in my garden. Now why the leaves are getting degraded day by day. So the queen started the investigation. She found there were some small white insects creeping over the leaves. Okay, then she thought that these insects might be eating the leaves, and she found some cocoons there. So what happened? She collected the cocoons and the insect, and she was showing that to the king. And by mistake, what happened? The cocoon fall on the cup of a tea. They were drinking tea and they were talking. So while she was showing the cocoon, that fall in that cup of tea. Then what happened? Then in the cup of tea only, as the tea was hot, so the fibers started to come out, and by this accident they knew that from this fibers they can make something. And this was the story behind how silk was accidentally explored or accidentally discovered. Now Chinese people, what they did, they keep it as a secret. Okay, for a long time it was a secret, but when the Chinese traders they went to different countries, this secret somehow got revealed, and the path through which they were going to different countries, those paths were known as Silk Route. Till now, China is the largest producer of silk, but India is also a largest producer of silk. So, in this way, the silk was discovered. Hopefully, you understood the chapter. If you still have any problem, please comment so that I will know and I will solve your queries. Till then, be at home, be safe, and please do your assignments. I want your assignments. Till then, bye.